with the life-saving rains over, the sun rose on our 4th day. And Enzo was getting prepped for surgery. But before he lay down for his operation, he uttered a sarky comment about what we should call our cave settlement. Amputown it is. And with that he was under. And Elenia, our resident surgeon, was on her way to install our settlement's first cybernetic augmentation. And just like Alex's surgery, any number of nightmarish things could go wrong, which was more than enough to get Alex out of Dodge. Listening to the gruesome sound of that surgery brought back bad memories for him. And after a few minutes of cloud watching, he covered his ears and went back into the operating room to carry on mining. He knew when it came to technology, steel would be the limiting resource of our settlement. And thankfully for everyone involved, Elenia had completed Enzo's surgery, with no complications. And Enzo was now our first cybernetically enhanced survivor. With food in our stores, more growing outside, and a roof over our heads, our next step was furniture. And while Enzo recovered from his anesthesia, Elenia and Alex started chopping down the resources that we'd need for our furniture. Five trees and 3 beds later, we could finally sleep off the cold, hard cave floor. And with so many of our basic needs met, Alex took the time off to go exploring. And besides finding a couple of patches of steel ready to be collected, he came across a large artificial chamber, which has remained untouched for centuries, possibly even millennia. But without any weapons, it wasn't anything we were going to open up anytime soon. Speaking of opening up potentially dangerous chambers, Elenia had broken open a cave, connecting it to our own. Not taking any chances, she quickly started work on sealing off the new cave entrance. And with Enzo's help, she had just enough wood to seal the cave before night rolled in. We spent the rest of the night mining, setting up a 4th bed in case of an emergency, and Enzo even got a bit of stargazing in before we all collapsed for the night, closing the book on our 4th day. By the time our 5th sun had come, we were all well rested and eager. We plugged the hole in our newly opened up cave to serve as a spare room in case any visitors weren't entirely friendly. And then it was time to move on to today's priority. And for that we needed cold hard steel. And luckily there was some nearby, left over from components of the ship smashing into the planet's surface. We would join the 55th century by harnessing electricity, with a solar panel for power during the day, and 2 batteries to keep us going on reserve during the night. It was all our fledgling colony needed, but our power needs would be the least of our problems. We'd heard rumours of away parties going missing on a planet in this system, deranged tales about the dead rising up to attack the living, and then those that were attacked dying from otherwise minor injuries, and like their attackers, refusing to stay dead. We could only pray this wasn't the planet those stories came from, but a knot in our stomachs told us that we should prepare for the worst. For the time being at least, we focused on today. We created a drop-off point for debris that needs to be refined before being used, and then went about clearing away said debris from our front lawn. We added a small lamp to our to-do list, as well as 3 basic wooden stools so we could sit off the ground while we ate. And with that we went to sleep, knowing that tomorrow we'd be awoken by the warm embrace of our first artificial light. Day 6, and our food reserves were beginning to dwindle. Our farm may have been enough to sustain us, but it still needed several days of light before our crops were ready to harvest. So instead we looked to our surroundings to grab any fruits and vegetables that were ready to eat now. Seeing as we didn't have any weapons to kill any animals in the area, we prefer not to go hunting using our bare hands, although it looked like we might not have a choice. A local squirrel had become rabid. It seemed hunting with our bare hands was exactly what we'd have to do. We all dropped everything and rallied. We had 6 empty hands between us, and one of them with a simple prosthetic. So fist fight it is, but Elenia was in no mood to take chances. She beat it half to death with a log, and Enzo finished it off, leaving it unconscious and bleeding to death. The scuffle left Enzo bleeding from his one remaining natural arm. We grabbed what we had foraged and headed back to the safety of our ramshackle hut. Enzo got into our designated medical bed, and Elenia got to patching him up. Another wound treated exceptionally. Enzo didn't want to wait for his minor wound to heal, so we got up and helped everybody bring in all of the juicy fruits and vegetables we'd spent the day harvesting. No worse for wear, we brought back what we could, and called it a day. The next few days were blissfully uneventful. We spent most of day 7 collecting the rest of fruits and vegetables we'd harvested the day before. We even had time that day to carve out a chest set from the wood we'd collected. We eased into day 8 testing out the chest set we'd crafted, before spotting a cluster of drop pods landing nearby. Muffalo meat, a lot of it, a bounty we couldn't turn our noses up to. Unfortunately, fresh meat in this weather doesn't last long. We finished carving out a little side room before moving on to our next major project, a cold room. After gathering the meat from the wilds, we got to work. We spent day 9 finishing our pantry, first excavating, then building an entrance. We even managed to replace our basic wooden front doors with automatic doors. And lastly, an exhaust for our cooler. And we ended the day with Elenia chucking the raw muffalo meat into our new fully functional fridge. Day 10 we built a communications console, allowing us to contact passing trade ships as well as nearby villages. Lastly we built an orbital trade beacon, allowing us to trade any resources stored nearby it. And with that, summer had arrived. The seasons passed quickly here, and we'd have to prepare for winter, even though we'd never see it. Day 11 was our last day of peace. We started the day mining before quickly realising that our first crops were ready to be harvested, and we even had our first visitors to the colony, an incredibly liberal group from the awkwardly named Intimacy Cave. It finally felt like our new home was a sanctuary. We had clawed tooth and nail to build a safe haven. But that safety was about to be shattered. They had come for us. Oh, no, okay, cool, another dog, that's fine. Absolutely fine, you know what? I think it's beer time, so if you hit me, you don't stun lock me. And a cop, not a problem. So I've had one of my only beers. My stamina is increasing, that's good. 2 dogs! F*** off! What the f*** is wrong with the game today? Jesus! If this isn't a shop... Fire in the deep.
The very embodiment of the earth. For some people, that is home and hearth. For you, it is a terrifying beast.
Yeah, they haven't been seen on the surface for a generation. Until now, a new enemy type, when I have 5 health. And if I don't get food from this encounter, assuming I win, I'm dead regardless. I would have loved that Wrath of the Gods right now. Hi. How you doing? Yep.